So early, sheesh. I'm just sending out Discord messages and updating everything, and you guys can see the infinite well. Alright. Anything else I need to do? It's funny because you guys get to see all like these Discords I'm part of. And let me close this then. Actually, let me go to camera first. Kind of like here-ish. Right there. And then... But welcome, David, welcome. Let me know if the music's alright. Hopefully you're making it, David. Hopefully you're making it.
Cole, he's my miracle child. So how does your miracle child get cancer?
Music.
How does that happen?
There's gonna be a lot of YouTube commercials in this.
Basically a tennis ball-sized tumor at the base of his brain. We were then rushed over to our local children's hospital, and that's when they told us that he had cancer. Couldn't believe that something that big was inside his little head. And everybody always says the worst sentence in the world is you have cancer, and it's not. The worst sentence in the world is your child has cancer.
Two, 5, 6, 7. But what is it? I'm just setting it up right now. I basically have everything set up. It's just I have one more thing to like do. Kind of just like make things like a little more nicer, I guess. If I wanted to do it this way, I guess. Pull up my grades. Fall 2018. Let me see. Because we have 6 viewers. This is my first time ever streaming. My first time ever streaming IRL, but like, yeah, it's just 2 people. Yeah, it's just us. I get why my phone is lying to me. I guess it's just. I guess IRL is just like a constant like come and go. No, I'll keep the tabs up. Stop. Okay. Yeah, I woke up hella early today to get this like done, I guess. I wish I actually like doing like this. Does that work in terms of a camera angle? I haven't even drank water, but yeah, it's fine. Hydrate. Oh my god. I think I forgot my my hydro flask back in the car, and I don't want to go outside. So here we are with soda. You're welcome. All right, let me tell you that I redeemed that complete all. There you go. How do we have 5 viewers? And I'm gonna try to get a good angle with this one, because all the camera angle matters on this. All right. And I might just switch over to copyright or copyright free jazz music or something like that, so I can work with that. Let me shrink that down just a little bit. Interesting speedrun, I know. A little bit out of my element. What's up, Idiotic Wisdom? How's it going? College speedrun. Well, if I did the college speedrun, then I'm about on like, ooh, like, I'm behind world record pace. Let me just put that out there. Graduating college at 21 is just like the average. Or 22, actually, my bad. Yeah, I did 22, yeah. Graduating college at 22 seems pretty average. Okay. I think we're all ready to go. Yeah, as soon as this playlist kind of runs out, I'll probably like play like copyright free jazz music. But what is it? The music sounds fine for you guys. I'm like, holy shit, like, music sounds all good. Not for the manager, you're kind of nice with it. Ooh, I'm nice with it. Ooh. A little bit, a little bit. You know, I should probably like get a little man bun in there. It only took us, everything's good for sure. Okay. Only took us one shaved head and one grown ass hair later. Your boy is graduated. I feel like this doesn't get my hair enough. That's the thing. And like, I could just wear a hat and just call it a day, but we'll rock it. We'll rock it. We'll rock the hair. We'll rock the nice hair. Oh no, I look like Zuko from Avatar. I look like Shang from Mulan. But I guess that's what I'm going for. So, all right, let's go for it. Transcript review start. I'll let this ad play out first. Skip ad. I'm just making sure. Okay. Oh my god, how do I start this? How do you start a YouTube video? How do we start a YouTube video? What's up, boys? Welcome back to another YouTube video. Yeah, I kind of just gave up the voice for that one. I'm so out of practice with this kind of stuff. What the hell? You need to seriously edit this out, cause this sucks. Exposed time. But as you guys know, or may not know, I graduated this year with a BS in mechanical engineering. And with that, we have all of my grades from previous semesters to judge me on, to tell stories on, for you guys to tell me that I'm a nerd, and to justify me spending countless of dollars for a degree that isn't even really my passion, but we're gonna make it work anyways. Cyclist shit with 1 bit. Thank you for the 1 bit. I know you really are holding on to that kind of shit. 1 bit for graduating. I think a bit is like 1 cent. So thank you for the 1 cent donation, and you are the top cheerer this month. Congratulations, Keegan. I get the 1 bit on graduating. Woo, let's go. Anyways, let's get back to it. So yeah, I graduated with a major in a major which is a BS in mechanical engineering and a minor in physics. So basically that takes around 4 years to get, and the minor is something that you just kind of add along if you have time for it, essentially. And yeah, I mean, honestly, I kind of just have like my grades pulled up, and I wish I had a better thing to talk about, but here are just some things that I wrote down to kind of just go on about as I'm going through this. Some story times during professor stories, about just some good ass professor stories, and my own college recommendations, how you guys can be like me or not be like me based on how you want to take college. Honestly, like it so he kind of BS major pog. Maybe I got a BS major. Who knows? Anyways, let me switch the playlist to something a bit more. Did I save that one? I did not save that one. Oh, I did.
So fat. Brendan, you're not fat. It's the shirt.
What the frick? What kind of ad is this? Okay, here we are. So, yeah, basically I have a... So basically we have a... Let me pull up my files. I don't know if you guys want to look at... Desktop. Desktop to... It's down transcript review strain. Oh, yeah. Here we are, and this is a different one to look at. What was it? Yeah. So undergraduate, a major in, which is a BS mechanical engineering, did not mean to do that. And then I also did a physics minor, which basically meant that I had more than enough time to complete a couple extra classes in physics to not exactly have a major, which is like a lot of units, is around 120. A minor is usually like 18 to 20 units essentially of classes on a college campus. And when you look at it, a physics minor at my school San Jose University is 18 units, and most of these as a mechanical engineer you already do take. I actually take all 3 of these ones, so that's already 12 of the units of the minor completed, so we just only have to do 6 more. And yeah, basically that's how that works. So I already had like 12 of the units already done, so getting the rest of the 6 units was basically just taking a couple of extra classes that I just didn't really count, but it counted in my heart, because it means I get to flex more in terms of my job perspective, and it means that I get to flex more in terms of my passion. But anyways, I guess we're just gonna jump right into it with the first semester. I guess that's small. That looks small. How do you change the... Oh yeah, it's here, right? Yeah, I can zoom in if I need to. I'm gonna look on the stream and see if... Yeah. Versus what if I pull this up. I'm gonna see what it looks like first. I'm gonna see what it looks like first when it comes up on the my phone. My phone's like seriously delayed too, but this is the only way that I can really tell that like you guys can really see something on stream. Okay, so the unofficial transcript looks a lot better, in my opinion. Oh my god, we don't need ping pong the animation going on right now. I'm not going into clutch mode or something like that. As much as I would love to go into clutch mode for all you guys, that's not what I'm going into. All right. So starting off, this is my first semester at San Jose State University. And this is a pretty generic schedule for like pretty much any STEM major at San Jose State University, or anyone honestly. You have your standard English 1A first year writing course, Intro to Engineering, which is just, as it says, your basic Intro to Engineering course. Math 31, which is Calculus 2, which is a standard math class, a workshop, and physics, general physics, basically the first step in your physics career at SJSU. I want to say English 1, like, I guess the first thing that stands out is a B+ in calculus 2. And yes, I know you were disappointed off rip. Mark, you were going for the perfect run in college and you failed. This is a mess up. I need you to repeat the speed run and do better. And to that, I say, no. No, I'm not doing that. Getting a perfect run in college, people that have a 4.0 in college, cumulative GPA, no. I mean, props to you for what you do, but no. So I guess I'll talk about the other classes first. Bro, I had an F my first semester. Not like this. Oh my god. We'll get into those type of classes as sooner or later, but overall with a 3.8 GPA, that's how we ended the first semester, which isn't bad. 3.8 honestly is like not even like a bad GPA to have. I think like, but depending on where you're going, like whether it's a job or whether it's graduate school or anything else, honestly, having a 3.5 is like not even like is a 3.5 is not bad, and a 3.5 is just like a B average, I believe. B average or B plus. I know B plus average. So it's like not even like super like hard trying or anything like that. Yeah, standard English writing course, a standard intro to engineering course. This one I took. This one I had with the professor. Her name was Babasi Wilhite. And honestly, that class was super chill. Like, I would recommend taking her any time of the year. She's really chill, really cool professor. Would recommend her to take again. Just really made an intro to English course really super approachable, I guess. That and when I was taking English, before you get into before you enroll for the school, there was like this module that you had to do to like basically test into English, and there is such thing as an English 1AF. I think it's what's called. Instead of English 1A, it's 1AF, and that was a year-long English course, and this is just one semester versus an entire year, and it's basically just like for any freshmen that don't really feel like they're really approachable for English 1A. Like obviously college writing is a lot, but there was a year-long course and there's a semester course. I took the semester course. I actually was debating on taking the year course because I didn't understand the whole thing about like college and getting your money and getting it out as soon as possible and saving money. But thankfully I didn't take that because there were some people that did and regretted it instantly. So yeah, we definitely lucked out with that. Intro to engineering. This was a fun one. This basically consisted of a lecture and a lab, and the lab was the most fun part in terms of just like, this is where you get to meet like your first engineering friends. This is where you get to like kind of scope out who you're going to be working with in your major and whether they're going to be good or not. And it's overall just a fun class. Like honestly, like freshman year, like intro to engineering was just so fun, and I remember so much about it. And I do have pictures of like what we did and stuff like that, and I'll probably post it honestly in terms of just like in the YouTube video of like things that I've done and like all the great things that I did in that class. Math 31, or actually no, Physics 50 I'll go over first. Physics 50 was just a standard physics class. This honestly was one of the most boring lectures in my entire life and taught me that not every professor is good at teaching. And I'm not gonna call him out because, you know, like that I don't want to do him like that, but yeah, this really taught me that not every professor knows to teach, and you kind of just got to learn on your own. I remember in this class specifically that there were a lot of times. I'm gonna change the music real quick. I'm not trying to turn up. After this, I'll change to the jazz music. Yeah, this one really taught me that some professors just don't know how to teach, and sometimes college is about learning on your own. You really pick with the professor to, this isn't high school where the teacher's going to give you a study guide and tell you this is what you're going to study for the test. And it's going to look exactly like this. And this isn't high school where you have to take attendance. These people do not want to show up to class. And the only days that they care about are the midterms and final days. So you'll show up to class and you'll be like, yo, there's a lot more people here than I remember being in class for the past couple weeks. And yes, do you think that they'll show up to the next class? No, because they know it's not worth it. Anyways, let's talk over that B+. Okay, so Math 31 is Calculus 2, which is notorious at my school for being super duper hard. And I am okay with a B+. Granted, I didn't really know how to approach a college level course at San Jose State University. I went into college straight out of high school, so I had to approach these college level classes with just like what I knew. Knowing now my college level brain, if I were to take Math 31 again, I feel like I would do pretty well in terms of knowing how to study and knowing how to like do well. And yeah, like I also spent a lot of time in class just goofing around. Like this is like my first college level class. Like I remember I would be swiping on Tinder in that class. We would be looking on Yelp for what we would get after the class. This was an afternoon class. So yeah, I was definitely not having fun time in that class. And you can tell by the grade. And then Math 31 workshop. You might be asking, Mark, what is a workshop? And I'm here to tell you, well, so Calc 2 isn't for babies. No, it's not. It's not. My school specifically I forgot to mention this. My school specifically has classes at SJSU that is meant to knock people out of engineering. It's meant to make you contemplate being a STEM major. This is one of these classes, and they intentionally make it that way at my school. Math 31 is one of those classes that makes you contemplate. Physics 15 was one of those classes that makes you contemplate. And it's because they intentionally have these classes have a high fail rate. Or like intentionally make these classes like super difficult. And you may be asking, Mark, how do you remedy that? How do I, if I'm going into this course, figure out how to do well? It's either A, have a good professor and they'll be nice to you and they'll be like your high school teacher and give you a study guide, and the study guide will be exactly like the test. Or B, you know how to study super duper hard and you have good study habits off the bat. And you need to learn that really fast. Math 31 workshop. Mark, what is a workshop? And to that I say a workshop that explains why the econ at my school was actually 8. Oh my god. Yeah, things can tend to be that way. What is a workshop? A workshop is basically a study hall, and it is required for for your first math class essentially. And I think it's just so that for your first math class at a especially because a lot of first math classes at your university is probably going to be when you're a freshman. So they kind of want freshmen to have like a period where you kind of just have a study hall essentially, so where you can dedicate time to doing homework and other things, like have responsibilities essentially. And this is actually my first class, not even lying. Like this class I think was my first class that I had to start with, and I think it was my only class that day. I think I had it like Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I would see my friends in that. And all you had to do was just show up and just do homework, and you got credit for it. Granted, if you didn't show up and you didn't get credit, you'd fail Math 31. So you kind of had to show up for some reasons. And you only had a certain number of absences. But it was really chill because there was a graduate student in there, and he's like, yeah, like I'm just kind of here because when I work a workshop, that's how they pay my tuition, and I'm here to help you guys. But other than that, like, yeah, like, cool. Let's start off with some icebreakers. Y'all can get to know yourselves and like other people, like, you know. Yeah. That's basically what he was like. And so I ended up meeting like one of my like 5 engineering friends in that class, and some of them that actually lasted until like the end of college. So yeah, like those people like really like made a difference. Okay, I'm not listening to ping pong animation while we're doing this. I'm gonna play copyright jazz free music, or copyright free jazz music, jazz background music. There we go. There we go. Wait, what your GPA when you graduate? We're gonna go over that. We're gonna go over that. Yeah, I had some engineering friends for life. This I actually was debating whether or not I should take English 1A or not. That year, and just taking 12 units and kind of just coasting through. But there actually was a sophomore in that class. I was just like, oh yeah, English 1A you'll be fine. Engineering 10 you'll be fine. Like the math 31 and physics 50 are the classes that you need to look out for. And I was like, oh okay, cool. Like. So I ended up taking English 1, and I'm glad that I did because that class was a breeze. But for my first semester, 3.8 GPA. Not too bad, honestly. Not too bad. All right, we're gonna go on to my second semester. Oh my god. Oh my god. And you might be noticing a little bit of an improvement. Okay. So basically your second year of engineering is essentially the same as the first. An English class, an engineering class, a math class, another gen ed class, and a science class. So this semester I didn't take physics, I actually took chemistry, because chemistry is 5 units, which means that it takes a lot of work. I got work tomorrow, so I'm gonna head off. Okay, thank you, David. Thank you for heading out, bro. You're doing great. You can watch the VOD or the YouTube video when this comes out. We appreciate you coming out, bro. All the way out from Korea, bro. Chemistry is 5 units. It basically means that it's a hefty class, and it was. It was definitely a lot of work. It consists of a lecture, lab, and seminar, which basically means that it just consists of like 3 kinds of like lectures essentially. And it was just a lot of work, but getting an A plus honestly wasn't like super duper hard, as long as like you tried hard. And what is it, this class was like taught by a really good professor of mine, and like she teaches multiple like places. Her name was Dr. Esfiandari. Really good professor. She was like voted like she was voted like best lecturer at my school like that year. And this is also one of my big like in like chemistry, like this is probably one of my biggest lectures. As you guys can see, the enrollment total was 352, and it was one of those giant ass lecture halls, like those like notorious like giant college lecture halls. And like it makes sense because it's chemistry, and you tend to have those for like, you tend to have, because chemistry is taken by so many majors, all of engineering, chemistry, physics, some social sciences as well, like psychology. I can't think of any others right now, but there definitely are a lot of like majors that take Chem 1A to be able to further on to their major. Biology is another one. Com 20, this was another one that was just an easy A. That basically you just gave speeches in the class and you learned about public speaking and what to do. This one was hosted by Dr. Iyengar. She was really good in terms of her teaching. I recommend her if you ever have the opportunity to. She was really good at just like making the class approachable, making the class fun. My girlfriend actually had taken her too at a community college, and so when she saw her for Com 20, she's like, Mark, like you need to take this professor, like she's really good. And I was like, I'm already on it. I've already signed up for a class. Like, I'm taking this woman. And it was a 7:30 a.m., but this is actually when I was living on campus. So a 7:30 a.m. class wasn't that bad when A, I knew that I would get an A, and B, I lived on campus, and so I could wake up at like 7:20 and skateboard to class and still make it. English 1B, Argument and Analysis. This was definitely one of the harder classes that I took at SJSU, at least in terms of the GE department. I really did not like this class at all. English 1B was not a class that I really did like. We ended up reading the things they carried in that class. I read that in high school, and I didn't really like that book either, but neither did I really like the class. I forget what we talked about in that class. Honestly, I think we talked about like rhetoric and how to do it, and he graded based on participation, which I don't believe that you should be grading on. He also graded on the amount of writing that you did is correspondent to how is correspondent to your grade, essentially. And I don't really believe in that philosophy in terms of like your grade is contingent on word count. Your grade isn't contingent on word count. Your grade is actually contingent on content. So like even though like you're reading the word minimum, which most engineers do, or I feel like most college students do, even though you're reaching the word count minimum, I still believe that the content really does matter for grades. Granted, you would say, Mark, you got an A minus, like stop talking about it. And I'm like, no, like it's still worth mentioning. Math 32. This was just another standard math class. This was better than Math 31 because I ended up getting an A plus in it, not because it actually was a better class, but I don't know. Math 32 was actually pretty fun, and I want to take a class, like an advanced version of this class at some point. It's called Vector Calculus, and it's pretty fun to learn. ME 20 in Design and Graphics. This is a class where you do SolidWorks. And when I'm asking Mark, what is SolidWorks? SolidWorks is a oh my god, SolidWorks. SolidWorks. I'm misspelling this all the time. Images is a CAD program, meaning that you can computer aided design, where basically you're just making geometry and stuff on your computer, and this is super fun. Like in terms of just like, this is like kind of like the theoretical stage of engineering, and you kind of just create things and just have fun. And this also is like your intro to kind of like creating geometry and just having fun with it and like assembling things. And like this is definitely commonly used in industry and probably one of the most useful classes that I had on campus. Yeah, and basically they would give you an assignment on whether it was drawing these things like by hand or by you had like a piece of geometry and you had to make it in CAD. While they weren't this complicated, they were more like simple geometry like this. It ended up being pretty fun. It basically like for the assignments, it just felt like a puzzle in terms of just like how you would go about making these things, and it made it really fun. Yeah, and you get a final project for that class. I don't want to talk about that, but yeah, it was pretty fun. And then the Sci 1 was just a workshop for Chem 1A. It was just a 1.5 credit class, and you could it was basically for Chem 1A. You could sign up for a workshop because they also knew that Chem 1A was also one of those classes that people would mostly fail on. And so they had a workshop where you would go there and they would give you prep quizzes, prep tests, and yeah, and like prep anything essentially. And it was also just kind of like that same notion of the workshop where like it was a dedicated time to kind of study and just to get ready and make sure that you're not falling behind. And as you may see, Mark, you got so many A's, but you got a 3.778. Why is that? And that is because of this. A Mission College 7.5 credit, spring 2019. So yeah, this this external credit comes from a community college, and my first recommendation for college, which is to take summer courses at community colleges while you can to optimize what you are doing. It basically, like, while you are, yes, giving away your summer to college courses, it saves you money, it saves you time, it allows you to possibly like have an easier schedule in the future, like in terms of just like an easier schedule in the future in terms of like you don't have as many units to take. I highly recommend it. I feel like anyone kind of recommends it, like especially during like your freshman year summer where you aren't really doing anything too much, like unless you're going on trips and stuff like that. And like even now, like today, like because of the surge of online courses, you can honestly just take online courses, and those can count for credit and stuff like that. Even if it's a GE or anything like that, I highly recommend it. And this is actually my summer courses. This is stuff I took before college. I took this with my sister, just because she had to do the same thing. She had to take it. She took a summer course, and I just kind of took it with her. She took a summer course to save time because she didn't want to take this after school, so she did that. And then there's me, who did the exact same thing the next semester. I actually was supposed to take Spanish 1B with her, I believe, or like 1 or 2, whatever. But I had to take these courses right here. As you can see, there's this gigantic B for a 4-unit class that ended up dropping my grade a lot. As you can see, a 3.68, which really, tanked my grade. I ended up taking music appreciation, which is a GE course. This was literally an online course. All you had to do was just show up for an orientation to and to sign an attendance sheet that you were there, and he would tell you about the course and how it works, and then you had to show up for a final. And it really was fun. It was super easy. A lot of his quizzes were on Quizlet, not even lying. I think you also needed to... No, I don't think you did. I think it was just Canvas quizzes. Quizzes on his online course. I think the only thing you had to do that was like really worth noting was that for music appreciation, you had to go to a concert and write about it in your essay. And I remember when I got there, when I got there for my class, this dude, like for my other class, this dude was like, "Oh, like you could just grab the pamphlet with all like the music and stuff like that, and you can just dip the concert." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I could do that." I didn't do that, but looking back on it, I probably should have. And then there's physics 4B, and boy, is this class a doozy. I actually didn't think I was going to pass this class, not even lying. Basically what ended up happening in this class was that this professor was really, really bad. And it honestly is like, I took notes on like what like really makes or breaks a professor from this class. Basically this is a really popular class because obviously it's a engineering physics class, and a lot of engineers need to complete this kind of stuff. When this class first started, there was like 40 people in this class. As this class kept going on, by the drop date, basically the drop date is basically where this class will not show up on your transcript, and you can possibly get a better refund for your classes. By that drop date, there was about 20 students. We already went down to half. And out of those 20 students, probably 10 of them passed. So yeah, that was a super rough class. Basically, it all boiled down to like his tests were really super hard and were unreasonable in some points. He wasn't willing to curve, and he really wasn't insistent, or like he wasn't accepting of student feedback. We spent like on basically every week telling this dude that like, hey, like a lot of us are struggling in this class. Like there's only like 3 students in this class out of 40 that are really getting it, and are really passing everything. Like, so like what, like you need to change, like you need to do something. And he's always just like, no. And we had to hold that. I literally had to hold this L at the B. And this actually is my lowest grade of all time, I believe. I probably shouldn't have given that away. But this ended up being my worst class. Like, not even lying. And I was actually scared that I wasn't going to pass this class, because this actually is a prerequisite for another one of my classes. And it's like a series of classes that I needed to take. Yeah. Yeah, we ended up getting a B, and I was super happy when I saw that. I really just honestly just wanted to pass this class at that point, so I was super glad to see that. Close current tab. But yeah, that B ended up dragging down my grade, because I think a B is a 3.3, I believe. So that really did put me down to that 3.778. I also remember for no, I won't talk about that anymore. Fall 2019. What is it? This is a GE class. This is AAS, which is Asian American Studies. As you can tell, I'm Asian. It honestly was a pretty fun class. The professor was really chill. He encouraged cheating in the class. It was pretty funny, because basically he would give a lecture, and you would have to answer a multiple choice quiz in the class, basically on your computer or whatever. And he would encourage cheating. He'd be like, "You guys can cheat," like, and it would just be like a multiple choice quiz, and you just like talk around and be like, "Oh, is it this? Is it that? Is it true, false? Oh, it's false, true. Okay, cool. Submit." And if someone like submitted it before you, then like you could just ask them for the answers. CE95, Theory of Application Statics. This is like actually one of like the most fun classes on SJSU, and like in my SJSU career, just because like it's a class that really made sense to me. Basically, CE95 basically tells you that like even though something's not moving, it's still subject to things, like it's still subject to forces and stuff like that, and you need to analyze that. And so it was a pretty fun class, honestly. And it's a prereq for 3 classes, so you definitely have to like make sure that you pass this one. Math 133A, ordinary differential equations, another super fun class. Differential equations is like, if algebra is to calculus, calculus is to differential equations. All the stuff that you learn in calculus is because you need to use it for differential equations. And it's really fun. Like you basically just learn a bunch of techniques to solve differential equations and stuff like that. And you end up using differential equations a lot in engineering, because it's how you describe like movement and stuff like that. And so this is probably like the most like useful math class that you can have. Like all the previous classes, not really. Like this is probably the most useful math class, and it is usually the last one that people take. So yeah, I guess I said the best for last. ME30. I'll get back to that one. ME41, Machine Shop Safety. Honestly, probably one of the most hands-on classes at San Jose State. You actually went inside and you actually worked with the machines. Like you had to work with a bandsaw. You had to work with one of these babies. You had to work with a hacksaw. A hacksaw machine. I guess you worked with this technically, but like I was looking for more like a machine. You also had to work with a lathe. One of these babies right here. I think it's a vertical lathe is what it's called. Vertical lathe, yeah. And one of these babies. Basically one of these kind of things. Yeah, this right here. You basically got to work with the machines in the machine shop. And honestly, like, let me see what was here. Okay, 3. Honestly, it was a super fun class in terms of just like getting hands-on. It's not my thing, and that's why I discovered that mechanical engineering, at least on this kind of level, is not my thing. Like working in manufacturing and stuff like that is not my thing, because I didn't really enjoy being there. But there were a lot of people that really didn't enjoy that class, and I'm like, this is for you. because there are a lot of people that enjoy just being in the machine shop and just making things, and I'm like, no, like I prefer being up here and knowing how to do things. But it really, on the same thing as like ME20, like there was a lot of like learning how to solve a puzzle and how you approach things. It kind of was that way in terms of like you needed to really think about what you were doing in that class. And actually I still have my projects from that class. These are the things that you made in the class. I actually made a mailbox right here. Let me see if you guys can see. Yeah. This man didn't get the hands dirty feel. Oh my god. No, I got my hands dirty. What are you talking about? Where is it? Right here. Right here. So yeah, this is my mailbox that I made in class. Yeah, this basically involves sheet metal and wood. So you had to cut. Oh, I unglued it, but that's fine. You basically had to make each part. So I had to make the base, make the pole. I don't think he gave the pole. And then you had to make the base for the mailbox, and then you had to make all the sheet metal around and the screws and make sure to put them in the right places. And then make sure that the base of the mailbox, like the wood right here, would fit everything, and overall just making it visually appealing. And then there was this one right here, which is a coat hanger. Basically, you just stick this on your wall, and then you can just put your coats on there, whatever, like that. This one was pretty fun, honestly. I really enjoyed like this one because it looks so smooth, and it looks pretty nice. It looks pretty pristine, honestly. Like this is like cool. Like I like this project a lot more. And it was the same way where you just kind of just had to learn how to like work a puzzle, and you also had to be pretty precise on things. Like honestly, like a lot of this class I ended up just spending like guesstimating things, and that's why I didn't like, I still did kind of well. I don't even get how I got an A+. But yeah, like the side profile on this and how smooth that was, and like the chamfer on the side, like that was pretty cool to do. And yeah, it just ended up being a really fun project to do, and I really enjoyed this one. So yeah, that, and like it was pretty satisfying to do. And with this professor, if you ever like messed up, like if you accidentally like went too far deep into something, or like ended up messing up a measurement, he just changed your measurement and like obviously passed what you did, and obviously made sure that it would still work with your thing. Like you can't make it too small, like obviously, or it's too like weak, whatever. But he would change it, and he'd be like, okay, like here, like let me give you this measurement, go try again. And it was pretty fun. Physics 52, general physics. This was for thermodynamics and optics, and this was a pretty fun class. The professor for this class was let's turn to my grades. I'm mentioning this one specifically, Bahugna, Dr. Bahugna, and he was really good in terms of like teaching physics in a way that made sense, and like is inspired me to like want to keep pursuing physics beyond just this, because this actually was supposed to be my last physics class for engineering. But I went to his office hours and really got to know him, and he really enjoyed like talking and just like being a professor, and just like talking, and like honestly on like a, not even like on a professor basis, but just on like a peer basis, just like that. We were kind of just like obviously like he obviously is still my professor, but just like you have to understand that professors are people too, and like you can really like, they have their lives and they do their own things, and that's one of my biggest recommendations, which is to attend office hours if you really need to. Like if you really like a professor and what they're doing, and like and the class, like I really do recommend going to office hours, not even just to like get help, but just to talk to them. Like, and honestly, they'll understand. Like, as long as no one else is there asking questions, which happens most of the time for office hours, they're just fine, just kind of just being there and just kind of talking, or talking about the class, talking about like opportunities, and talking about like career advice. Like, those are things that you can go to office hours for. And as I said, like, as long as no one else is there asking questions, like, facts, office hours underrated. Hell yeah. Like, going to office hours is just such a big help. Like, going to see this man, like going to see Dr. Bahugana really inspired me to take on a physics minor, and I actually am pursuing a master's in physics at USU Fullerton. So that's what I want to do. And he actually gave me a job, which is being a grader for his class too, which ended up being a really nice chunk of change, basically. And yeah, going to office hours, like, these people like are here for a reason. They're teaching here for a reason, and they probably have had jobs beforehand, or know what a job in that market is like. It could possibly be a connection, possibly could talk about career advice and what you should be doing, or like help you, even just helping you with the class in general. Like, they're just there to help, and they help in more ways than you think that they can. And you can only go by going to their office hours. And I'm guaranteeing you that they are willing to help in more ways than one, in terms of like your degree. But yeah, I guess my last one is ME30. I hated this class so much. The professor for this class has a 1.2 rating on Rate My Professor, so screw that. If you guys don't know what Rate My Professor is, you get a score out of 5 on Rate My Professor. Basically is a platform that you should be using, which is another piece of advice. Rate My Professor is such a useful thing to use for scoping out your professors and your classes. And let me actually show you guys what it does. Rate My Professor. Let me just say I searched up this dude right here. You basically, like, if you are ever taking classes for your for college, this is probably the first place that you go. If you have a professor on your schedule, this is where you search them up. And as you can see, has a pretty good distribution, has like 36 awesome 5 ratings, and you can kind of read about what he's been doing. You really get a scope of what the class is like. Do you need to attend class? Do you need to attend class? Is attendance mandatory? Is there homework? Is there quizzes? Is there exams? Like, is he approachable? Is he not approachable? Like, literally, like, when your department's small, so you only get one professor for a class. Oh, shit, that's rough. I think he's the only one that teaches it, but honestly, like, you get a scope of how hard or how hard or how easy your class is gonna be for that semester. And so I really recommend using this as a platform for checking the professors and seeing what your class is gonna be like, especially if you're going to be like, especially if there are multiple options. Because do you want a professor that because every professor is different, basically, and like, you should literally look it up. Like, my professor, really fantastic tool. This dude obviously is really good, and so he has some really good ratings and the occasional bad rating. But like, honestly, just like, literally, like this platform is just so useful for so many reasons, and I recommend using it for anything. This dude has a 1.2 rating on My Professor, so it's out of 5. This dude has a 1.2, which means that he is really, 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 really bad. When I remember taking this class, basically I remember him giving lectures on stuff. This is a once a week class. I remember him giving lectures, not really starting from the basics, but like really expecting you to read the book and to really understand what's going on. But this is coding, like, this is computer science applications. Coding is not super intuitive, especially for a lot of people. So like, this was really hard to like go through and like understand. And he really expected a lot of us, and I remember for the final exam, the highest grade for the final exam was like an 80%. And that was really bad. I think I ended up getting like a 60%. And I actually, funny enough, had a borderline A minus, like borderline B plus A minus in the class. And I asked him, hey, like I'm like borderline B plus A minus in this class. Is it okay if you can round up? And he said no. And you want to know his reasoning why? This man said, because your grade is not reflective of an A in this class, I cannot round your cannot round your B plus to an A and a minus. And I'm like, bitch, the highest score was an 80%. What the fuck do you want me to do? Like, getting an A on the final exam, not possible. I'm sorry. How am I supposed to get an A so you can round up to an A? No. Anyways, yeah, that is my like sheer hatred for this professor. Let's continue on. Okay, and on to that, we're on to the end of spring 2020. As you can see, this is a very important note on there. In spring 2020, the pandemic limited all courses to online modality and to temporary change to academic/grading policies that allowed credit non-credit grading in any course. So this is the coveted, the long, the awaited COVID semester learning, which was just fantastic. Oh wait, last semester we ended with a 3.818. So we're going up the ranks. This is the first like improvement semester, I feel like. Yeah, 3.818. But this is the coveted COVID semester. I am so glad that I took 4 classes, cause ain't no way that I would have taken 5. I actually was supposed to take I think Asian American Studies 33B, but I ended up dropping it and not being able to take the professor that I wanted. Yeah, this is the coveted COVID semester. It happened like halfway through. I remember like from like there was about to be midterms coming up, and then it just school got postponed for a week essentially. Professors had to figure out what they were going to be doing online essentially. And so yeah, like that was super duper fun. I didn't think that it would end up being for a couple years, but it ended up or like a year of school online. But you know, like it is what it is. But I ended up taking CE 112, which is a continuation of CE 95. Basically this class teaches you is a step up from CE 95, where CE 95 you just analyze things in static or like not moving. This thing took it a step further, which is just like, oh, like now you need to learn how things deform, and there are so many ways that things deform. It is an incredibly like equation heavy class, because you just need to learn how many ways that different things can deform under stresses and strains and stuff like that. Engineering 100W, I actually should look up never mind, actually no. Engineering 100W, if you actually look at the top of my transcript, it says I think it says writing skills says eligible to enroll in 100W. There was something called the WST at my school, which basically at the time was basically just like the SAT writing portion. Basically where you just sat, you went to the university, you signed up for a date, you went to the university on that day, and you basically sat down and you basically just wrote for like an hour and a half, and you turned in that essay and you got a score. I think you needed a 6 to pass. Or I think you needed a 7 to pass, and it's out of 12. I don't know why, but it's out of 12. But I ended up getting like an 8, I believe. So I was like, okay, I'll take it. Like I'll take a passing score. My writing skills are not incredible, but basically I took the WST, got that over with, Yo, what's up, Sam? We like the eyes. We like the eyes. uh, yeah, I took the WST, did well, like passed it. All right, I'll take it. And then that allows you to take this class. Um, um, this was probably one of the hardest A's I've had to earn, just because like my writing skills were not that good. This is with a professor where she was really critical about things and making sure that you wrote really well. Um, in my opinion, a little bit too harsh, but you know, whatever. Like it was okay. Uh, bro, quarantine wasted our time on that and my $30. Yes, unfortunately, they did end up scrapping the WST, the writing skills test, and now you just take like some online module that just says like whether you feel ready or not for this class, essentially. So the WST just ended up being scrapped entirely. I don't think they do it anymore. Yeah. Engineering, or I'll skip this one. I have a story for this one. ME 113 thermodynamics. This is actually one of my most favorite classes from engineering. I actually ended up taking this with the department head at the time. It has since changed since then. Her name was Nicole, or Dr. Okamoto, and she was stellar with how she ran things. And I'm beyond just being the department head. She was just good with how she ran her class, and I really like if I ever am to teach, I really want to take away from what she did and how she teaches and how she does things. Even when we moved to online learning, she was really stellar with how she ran things and how like and how she was with the class. And I honestly like really wish that I like had her the entire year in in-person learning, but she was just the way that she presented, like that she was able to teach, present herself, do online learning and stuff like that was really good. Yeah. All right, ME 101. If you're thinking, Mark, this is ME 101, how'd you get an A minus? And I'm like, bro, at my school 100 means it's a hard class. Anything above 100 means it's a hard class. It doesn't mean it's 101. Really, really unfortunate placement of numbers, but yes. Basically, ME 101 is the dynamics, which basically teaches you how to analyze things in motion. There's a lot of ways to do that. Basically, I had a good grade. I had an A in this class the entire semester until the final. The final actually was the only reason that my grade tanked, and it wasn't even my fault. I realized like halfway through the exam that some of the questions were wrong or like didn't have the correct answer in the multiple choice questions, and I wasn't able to reach out to the professor in time to change my grade essentially. And so he basically just said like, I contacted him and I talked about it. Just the fundamentals, bro. I actually contacted him and we went over the exam, and I actually was supposed to get some points back, but the grades were already submitted at that point, and he kind of was just like, well, like, yeah, I can't really do anything. And I'm like, damn, like, that sucks. So I ended up with an A minus. Like, he was nice and he was a good professor. Like, it wasn't his fault that the things on the exams were incorrect. It really wasn't, but yeah. And this actually is what they call like a I forget what they call this class actually, but basically what this class is really important for for mechanical engineering majors, because I think I don't want to call it a capstone course, but basically in your major there are some classes that like the engineering program still tries to get you with, and this is one of them. So they make it difficult and they really do monitor it heavily. Basically this class you are allowed to fail twice, or I think no, you're given 2 tries to try to pass this course, and if you fail the second time you are automatically disqualified from the major, which is pretty stressful. Like, you get 2 tries and you cannot like fuck up this class at all. Yeah, and it also is a class where like if you're trying to switch into the class, this is like if you're like a physics major or you're a like a different engineering major or whatever, and you're trying to switch into mechanical engineering, this is the first class that they tell you to take. And so there were a lot of students in our class that were just random majors, but they're like, oh, I'm here because I really want to take, or I really want to be a mechanical engineering major. So they were there. Overall, semester stats, a 3.8. 3.93 for the semester, 3.848 overall. So we're continuing to improve that grade, you know. I think I did take a semester. I think I did take a external credit. Okay, this is when I took a. This is when I took a Dianza. This is where I took Intro to Circuits Analysis. Yeah, summer 2020 Dianza. I originally signed up for this class when it was supposed to be. No, it wasn't supposed to be. Never mind. This class was an online class, and honestly, really fun. It says it's 5 units, but that's because it's the quarter system, not the semester system. It translates to about 3.3 units, I believe. Yeah, 3.3 semester units. Yeah, semester units. This class was fun specifically because I took this with friends who were in mechanical engineering, and a lot of us took this class. Like, I'm gonna say like 5 of us took this class, and it was pretty fun. And it was online, so I was able to just do it from home, and the professor was really approachable about just making things easy, especially during a pandemic and online learning and stuff like that. And so it really just was super fun to take. At my if you were to take this class at San Jose State University, this is a really, really hard class to take. And they make it hard because this is another one of those classes where they try to get you to drop the engineering because it's a hard class to take. And I'm glad I took it here with some friends. And it also allowed me to defer taking this class earlier so I could just take it somewhere else. So like it's smart on my end to do that kind of stuff. So that ended up with a 3.848 based on that. So technically I did take 5 classes, but like, you know, like you always want to take, like, you always think about it and you're always like, oh, I wish I could have taken more, but yeah. Okay. Fall 2020, another semester of online learning. Intro to materials. I had to take this class. I actually deferred this class a while, and this is another one of my recommendations, which is to really plan out how you are going to how you want your semesters to be like every semester. Like while I wasn't the one who did it, my girlfriend is. Basically at San Jose State, why didn't it open? Oh, okay, here we are. At San Jose State, they give you this form. This is literally a tool that you can use. It's literally my advising form, and I have to use it for every advising appointment. It's a sheet that tells you the class, what are its prerequisites, and what is it a prerequisite for. So you can kind of map out what you kind of need to take over the course of the years. And I know that it sounds like pretty dumb to do that, like, bro, what the heck is that? Basically when you go to your advising appointment, you can like type everything in. So I can say Mark, I can type in my ID, I can type in that, I can type in that. I can tell them what courses that I've already completed. I'm currently enrolled in, let's say, spring 2022. Oh, spring 2022. And then the advisor does this part where they're like, okay, fall 2023, what do you want to, what classes are you going to be taking? And so like I'll tell them like, oh, I've already taken all these courses, and this is all GEs down here, and this is all like the mechanical engineering requirements. And so yeah, this basically tells you what classes you need to take, what are they a prerequisite for, or what are they a prerequisite what are the prerequisites for that class and what is a prerequisite for. And this is a really useful tool to figure out what classes you're going to be taking every semester. And I really do recommend figuring out what your unit load is going to be, what classes you're taking, whether you can defer taking a class at a community college instead of taking it at the university, so you can so you can go refer back to the summer advice. Because taking the electrical engineering class, I could have taken it at my university, but I ended up deferring that so I could take that on a summer course and take other courses instead. As I said, saves you time, saves you money, and really planning out your schedule really helps, because there were a lot of friends of mine in engineering that would stack like 5 engineering classes, 5 100 level engineering classes, 5 of them. And I am not going to be taking 5 really hard engineering classes. My girlfriend had it planned so that I was taking general eds until my basically every semester I would take a general ed. And that's because it really helped to balance things out in terms of that. And granted, there are reasons why I was able to do that. Obviously, the summer courses and other reasons why I was able to kind of have a balanced schedule throughout the years. But really try to have that balanced schedule in terms of knowing your limits and how much you are able to take, and having some fun classes in there as well, because no one wants to take 5 engineering classes at once. At least upper level. Obviously, this one right here is 5 engineering classes, but this one was pretty cool. The professor was pretty cool, honestly. The only thing I didn't agree about was that he really said that teachers that really abide by the bell curve and not skewing it, he really believed that a lot of students should be getting C's and that only one person should get an A+. I really don't abide by that. I believe that a lot of people deserve A's in terms of the work that they're putting in, and that not just one person deserves an A+. Not exactly how I believe in things. And this is actually the first class that I actually went back and rewatched lectures for, because it was online and you could rewatch lectures, because he was so driven on learning the material in terms of knowing how to write things out and how to explain certain concepts. And materials engineering is a lot of doing that. Materials engineering is a lot of concepts and knowing how to explain them, and not exactly a lot of math. This class barely involved any equations at all. So you definitely needed to know how the concept worked, and not exactly equations or something that did that. Fluid mechanics, probably one of my favorite classes, even though I got a B+, because fluid mechanics is such a very in-depth class that's super fun. And fluid mechanics can explain anything. Fluid mechanics can explain not even just movement of water, but movement of heat, or movement of electricity. That kind of stuff is pretty cool. And so it was a pretty cool class. The only reason why I don't the B+ really showed up there is because the professor wasn't really responsive with grades, and so I didn't really know about my grade until the last week of the semester. And then I had to haggle with him for a B+. Heat transfer, are probably one of my favorite classes of mechanical engineering overall. This had a lot. Basically, it's self-intuitive in terms of what you're learning. You're learning how heat moves, and it involves a lot of partial differential equations and a lot of math. So it was pretty fun because I really enjoy that kind of stuff. So it made a lot of sense. It was really fun for me to try it out. Thermal engineering lab online, so it really didn't matter. You basically just kind of learn what you could have done in the lab and what you would be doing in the lab, but Yeah, and then you'd basically my group kind of carried me for this class. Not even lying. ME 130 Applied Engineering Analysis. I actually looked out because the professor that taught this class also taught this one, and he's known for being lax. Let me look up. And he's known for being super duper lax. Funny enough, he hasn't taught that class since I took it with him. So yeah, in enrollment's almost 47. Oh my god, people really want to take him. Kabani, Dr. Kabani, really lax professor, honestly, really cool. I would recommend him for any class that you take, just because of him, I really feel like I was able to handle this load of classes. Yeah, what is it? He didn't have any homework. He would just kind of lecture and have quizzes and had a final exam. It was take home too, which was really nice. So yeah, because of that no homework stuff and just kind of just learning on your own, it really made the class pretty easy. Versus this class was a lot of work, but was really fun in my opinion. This really gassed me out because it just took a lot of work, but fun in the end. 3.846. I think it's, yeah, I went down a little bit because of this B plus. I was a little bit mad about that, but it wasn't too much of a change. 846. I'm okay with that. And here we are. Next semester, another semester of online learning. This is my third one. We finally got rid of that Asian American Studies. Again, just a general ed class, pretty easy to get through. Yeah, especially online too. That was pretty easy. ME 106, Fundamentals Mechatronics Engineering. I personally didn't like this class, but thankfully I had my best friend in mechanical engineering kind of carry me through this class. Not even lying. I'm mad about my 3.82. Wow, cyclist, we all are in this together. I was able to do a lot of stuff on my own, but for the really complicated stuff, especially for the group project, my friend really carried me through this class. He was really good at what he does, and I think he really wants to continue on with that. My favorite stuff in mechanical engineering is heat transfer and not fundamentals of mechatronics engineering. So it wasn't really the most fun class to take, but yeah, it really made a lot of fun. Or he made it as much fun as it could for an online class. ME 120 Experimental Methods in Engineering. I did not pay attention in this class at all, but it was fun because it was a class that taught you the different devices that you use to measure different things and the theory behind them. So it's just how do I measure temperature? How do I measure deflection? How do I measure thermal conductivity? How do I measure this, that, or the other? And it also taught you about statistics a little bit, but I didn't really remember any of that. But it was a fun class because it taught you how what different electronics, what they could do, and what their purpose was and how they worked. And so it was pretty fun. And this was actually one of the classes that I took on campus, or there was a lab to it, and I had to go on campus once a week to go to the lab and go inside and work on each of the experiments essentially. And my final project for that class ended up, I think I still have it. I don't have the rest of it, but I had to use this steel bar and I had to attach a strain gauge to it. Let me show you. Strain gauge. Boom. Images. Not shopping. Images. A strain gauge. There we are. You got to use one of these things. A strain gauge. And basically what a strain gauge does is that it basically what a strain gauge does is that, like, I feel like it's self-explanatory, but it gauges strain. And through being able to know which, like, basically without going into too much physics in it, it basically like is able to using this electrical circuit, it's able to gauge how much strain something is going through. And then it can, through that, you can learn how much force, pressure, or like stress something is going through. And through that, you're able to measure deflection, how much like deflection it was. So I put a strain gauge on this giant metal bar, and I was able to tell you how much the bar was being deflected at the end. Which is pretty cool, honestly. Like, not too out of a project. All right, let's go back. Oh wait, no, I need this full screen. Oh my god. Ah. Turn my grades. Okay. I also remember the professor not liking me for this class. He thought I was really dumb. I remember walking up to him and telling him like my final project. And he just kind of just looked at me and he's kind of just like, or whenever I asked questions, he would just look at me just like, and I was just like, dude, like, please, like, stop. Please stop. Please stop looking at me. Did you have to take labs every semester? I'm trying to think. No, I did not. This semester I didn't have to. I guess this is technically a lab. This one I didn't have to. This one didn't have any labs. Physics. What is it? Physics always has a lab. Chemistry has a lab. Physics has a lab. This one I didn't have to. This one I guess technically this is a lab, but honestly it was more just like an online course. This one I had a lab. Yeah, I guess every semester I've kind of had a lab. Yeah. Yeah, the professor wasn't really the nicest in terms of like being approachable, but I didn't really care. I got my A and I was done. ME 154 Mechanical Engineering Design. This is like a step up from that class I talked about in the beginning, which was ME 20 with SolidWorks. And it basically was just like, okay, like now you know how to make things, like now let's start designing and like making mechanisms, and you need to learn how to like analyze these mechanisms and how they work. And there are multiple different methods and how to do it and like what you're doing. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, this is another one of those classes that I didn't really enjoy. I remember playing Minish Cap during this class, like on my Game Boy while I was sitting at my desk and kind of just playing Minish Cap. And I got through most of it, honestly. I got to like the cloud world or whatever like that, which is a pretty good sizable margin into the Minish Cap. I think it's like the third world in or something like that. So we made it pretty far, and that's what I remember from this class. All right, Physics 160, Thermodynamics and Statistical Physics. Honestly, a pretty fun class. The professor was really nice, and I really wish that I took him, took him in person, but obviously, like, beggars can't be choosers at this point. And this is actually the start of my physics minor, and I actually did use this as an elective. Basically, an elective is additional units that you have to take with your major. For mine, you have to take 2 additional classes combined with all the requirements. And so this, I actually, in my department, you're allowed to use 1 non-mechanical engineering class as your elective, so I chose this one to be it. But this class was super fun because it really taught me like the fun of how physics can be, especially towards the very end where it all kind of ties together, and you get some really powerful tools that you can like really do like almost anything with. It really felt like the possibilities were endless with it. And I really wish that like I took this professor later, because while I do believe that like he is really good and stuff like that, like, and it was online, he's not exactly the best introduction to the department in my opinion. That's not to bash him or anything like that. Like this class is literally meant to be a senior level class for physics majors, but obviously I'm a mechanical engineering major doing a physics minor. There are some mechanic or physics classes that you can take that are like really are good introductions to the department, and I'll get into that later. But there are some professors that really take on that role, and they know what they're doing, and they really want you to excel and do well. And there are some steps in physics in doing that. But as you can see, this is my first ever all A's. I got the President's Scholar, which basically means you got a 4.0. This is my first ever, and so that really raised up my grade. We went from a 3.846 to a 3.870. So what is that? That's like a good solid like point 0.024. Yeah, 0.024 like grade raise, and that actually put me up for summa cum laude. And basically, if you look up San Jose State cum laude graduation, you basically can see what you need essentially to graduate with high honors. Basically, it's just graduating in honors is just a flex of graduation with a medal, and you get summa cum laude read out. And so basically it depends on your GPA and how well you do, basically contingent on your grades. And so it pushed me from a 3.84 to a 3.87, which put me into the summa cum laude range, which I originally wasn't aiming for. But once I got into that range, or I got that all A's, I was like, damn, like maybe I should. And then this semester, finally into my senior year, they actually removed this because this is golf clubs for all the A's. Hell yeah. Removed this because it's actually back into in-person learning. Yeah. It was pretty fun. There was a lot of like hybrid, I believe. I don't know if they no, they don't. Okay. There's a lot of like hybrid classes and stuff like that. Some of my classes were hybrid, like this one right here, and this one right here, and this one right here. So literally three of my classes were like online. This one was like half in person, half online. Obviously tennis has to be in person, and then my physics class, thank God it was in person. Engineering 195A, a 1 unit basically writing class. So you write about social issues. This class really focused on like social justice and equality and like feminism and gender equality and what else, LGBTQ rights and stuff like that, and you had to write about that a lot. So basically she would just talk about those issues and how they're prominent and how they play into society essentially, and how that works and what you can do to like push against that essentially. I need to write about that, and I got an A-. I didn't really mind it at the time. I kind of was just like, like it's 1 unit, so it's not gonna affect my grade too much. It is sad because it is my only A-, so I could have gotten President's Scholar again, but I wasn't really like mad about that. I'll skip tennis. I'll go to the next one. I'll come back to it. Thermal systems design. This was a pretty fun class because like it again went back to the mentality of like I really liked heat transfer. So thermal systems design was definitely a fun class to start. Because it was hybrid, we didn't go as much over as we liked, but it made a pretty fun class, honestly. Basically, you learn how to the factors in designing a thermal system and how you can model things and the math behind it in terms of that. And so that was pretty fun to do for that. there's a couple projects for that class you had to do, and it just ended up being a really fun project, I guess. Senior project design 1. That's probably another one I should probably get back to. You know what? I'll talk about Physics 105A. Advanced Mechanics 1. So Physics 105A. This is what I'm talking about when I mean a good introduction to the department. This was taught by 105A Professor Switz. SJSU. My professor. This man has a solid 4.6. Really good. Don't ignore that one. But really good in terms of what he does. And he honestly was a really good introduction to the department, as I said, because he really wants you to succeed in the way that he knows that is going to set you up for success. He wants you to read the book. He wants you to really try hard on the homework and know that it takes a really long time to do the homework. He wants you to attend office hours, and he wants you to attend lectures. And he's really entertaining in terms of what he does. And as I said, like, if I had known what you in physics that you're supposed to read the book, and I like going to lectures is really important, and paying attention is really important too in physics, like that, I really wish I could have taken that like to Physics 160. But alas, like I learned that at that time, and really good, like in terms of a good introduction to the department. Like he really sets you up to like, this is what you need to do to be a good physics major or minor, I guess, for my case. But he really tells you like, this is how you're meant to treat this class or treat these classes, because this is a really hard subject. This is a really like complex subject to study, and you really cannot just like study the night before and crank this out. You need to try. I'll go over senior project. My senior design project, that is like a whole story within itself. I could go on for hours about my complaints about this or anything. I mean, I got an A in the end, but this was such a drag class. I'm literally telling my friend right now that she needs to choose the right senior project, because choosing the right one and choosing a good group is so crucial. My group was okay. We made it through, I guess I'll give it that. We got A's. It just was such a struggle, and so much procrastination and so much stress. I remember the night before the presentation, I had to stay up to like 3 a.m. trying to work on like SolidWorks homework, or not SolidWorks homework. Hydrate. Oh my god. Thank you for the hydration, Neotic Wisdom. We need this for this class. Bam. Whew. What is it? Choosing the right project group is so essential. Making sure that like even if you don't like the project, working with people that you like is so, it topples over everything. In basically any project. There are so many projects where like, if you work with people that you like, it ends up being a lot more than working with people that you don't like, but it's a project that you do like. Like it just makes intuitive sense. Not that I didn't really like the people, like it just ended up being super stressful and staying up until 3 a.m. Beginners tennis. Oh my god, let me scratch my nose real quick. Stretch. Whew. Okay. Beginners tennis. Funny enough, in engineering, I did not have to take this class at all. This was a totally optional class to take, and because in engineering you don't have to take a PE. But basically I needed 12 units to be full-time. Full-time being 12 units. Basically by being full-time, it allows you to have access to financial aid, and basically that was pretty much it. Like it basically allowed me to have financial aid for both semesters. Took it for the vibes, hell yeah. And I needed a one. Basically, I was at 11 units, and I needed a 1 unit once a week class, and that was pretty easy. I didn't want to take something that was super hard, and tennis was one of those classes. So funny enough, your boy didn't want to take this alone. So I texted my group chat of friends at San Jose State. I was like, yo, does anyone want to take tennis right now? And your boy cyclist was like, yo. And I quote, he said, yo, tennis sounds dope. And with that, your boy and cyclist ended up taking tennis together. Hell yeah, bro vibes. Ended up being a pretty fun class, pretty good stories. I guess that's how me and cyclists really got to know each other a lot more than we already did. Because I would ask him for rides back to school, because it was actually off campus. Like it was at like, basically my campus is like separated into like the stadium and the school. The stadium was like really far away from the school, so he would have to drive me back to school because I would have a class that would follow up afterwards that needed to be on campus. So I would ask him for rides. I'd be like, yo dude, like can I get a ride back? And he's like, yeah, sure, whatever. And I'm like and I'd be like, bless up, bless up, bless up. So yeah, it ended up being a pretty fun class to take. There are so many stories from that class that, like, I guess I'll explain one. I remember one time I had a quiz later that day, and my girlfriend is the one that drives the car around on Tuesdays basically. And I remember cyclists drove me back to campus, and I looked around, and we were like, I was trying to find my girlfriend. I was trying to find her. I was trying to call her because my backpack is in the car, and I need to take a quiz, and my calculator is also in my backpack, and we can't find her in the parking lot. And so I look at her location, which I should have done in the first place, and I figured out that she's still sleeping in the car back at the stadium. And I'm like, fuck. I'm like, yo, bro, we need to go back. I'm like, I think we need to go back. And I'm like trying to hold it all together in front of him too. Like, I am so nervous. This is the first quiz, and I'm like, I think he gives us like, I think he gave us the whole period to do it. But I'm always stressed for like first quizzes, first exams, whatever. I'm like trying to hold it all together in front of him, like trying not to like panic or like yell or like basically like burst out in front of him. And he's like, okay, let's go back. And lo and behold, we drive back, and there is my girlfriend sleeping in the car. I think I took a video too of what happened, and it's pretty funny. I just had to like knock on the door, and like cyclists honk on the horn, and we're like, get up, come on. And yeah, my girlfriend ended up driving me back to campus. So yeah, it ended up being a really fun time. There are so many stories from that class that I cannot explain right now, but it ended up being a really fun time, a really fun class. And yeah, I guess it goes into another note, which is to take classes with friends. If you take classes with friends, whether it's academic or PE or whatever like that, it just ends up making it a more fun time. Knowing someone and being able to work off of that makes it so much easier. If you don't know anyone in a class, it becomes infinitely harder to ask for help, to gauge where you really are at in a class and anything like that. So, and it also just makes it more fun for yourself. Like why not have fun in college? Like, just do that. Like, final semester. So this actually just dropped. What was it? This Saturday, one of my classes just dropped for one of my grades in my classes just dropped this Saturday. So I actually just got updated on this, and I was gonna stream yesterday, but I decided to stream today. So, no, actually, let me go back. Totally forgot about this. I should not forget about this. I also took a class during that semester, and that is, oh my god, where is it? Linear algebra. I know I have to talk about this because I know Cyclist will get at me if I don't talk about this. So basically, I was supposed to be taking a summer class during the summer between this semester, the spring semester, and fall semester. But the linear algebra class that I got was superbly boring, and I wasn't worth it at all. I actually ended up withdrawing from the class, and basically what withdrawing means is that it shows up on your transcript. As you can see, it's a W with is a slick withdraw. I withdrew from the class, and honestly, it took a big weight off my shoulders. Ended up letting me just do things on my own that summer, really like a summer break, honestly. And yeah, it just wasn't worth it. The dude was super boring. I would usually call into work and just work instead of going to class. So yeah, we did that. And what does this mean? I forget what an I means, but anyways, I actually ended up taking linear algebra again during the fall semester, and the reason why was because different kind of W. Yeah, it was a different kind of dub. I actually ended up taking it during the fall, and it was because I wanted to take linear algebra for fun, and I'm like, and all of you probably are like, Mark, you're a fucking nerd. You wanted to take linear algebra for fucking fun. Why the fuck would you want to do that? And to that I say, yes, I did want to take this for fun. Yes, I am a nerd. Yes, I love this class so much. Linear algebra is probably, and A, I want to take it for fun. B, linear algebra is probably one of the most useful math classes you can take in your life. So it pretty much was so useful, and I still use linear algebra to this day. And it actually is a prerequisite for classes that I needed to take for physics. Unfortunately, I didn't take any of those classes that it was a prerequisite for, but I remember talking to one of the professors at SJSU, and he's just like, he's like, you could take these physics classes if you wanted to, but he's just like, you would have to have taken linear algebra. And I was like, fuck. I kind of just dropped it last semester or last quarter or whatever over the summer, and looks like I can't do that. And the semester had already started at SJSU, so it's not like I can sign up for a linear algebra class. So I thought about it for a second, and I was like, oh shit, if I take linear algebra at a place that has the quarter system starts later than the semester system in terms of the fall semester. So I was like, oh, I can sign up for this and take them alongside each other and basically get this class out of the way. It ended up actually being a really fun class. Basically, it was just online. It was asynchronous. You just did it on your own time, and pretty easy class, honestly. Basically, just paid for the class, paid for the credit, essentially. So, because you just basically had to learn everything on your own through basically just had to paid to learn on my own, which I didn't really mind. Some people do mind, depending on how they want to learn. Some people want to learn from a lecture. I didn't really mind. I grew up on Khan Academy and learning through online methods. So especially in engineering, you have to learn how to do that kind of stuff. So yeah, It really didn't change that much for me. So yeah, I ended up taking linear algebra. As we said, withdrew the first time, but we bounced back. Last night took an L, but tonight I bounced back. Got that slick A in the class. Deserved so. So, we ended up doing so well, and we bounced back, boys. So that brought me up to a 3.885 that semester. So 3.87, 3.885. We are in the bag. We are in that magna cum laude range. And as you can see, last semester we dominated. Domination. I guess we'll get the boring ones out of the way. Engineering 195B, which is a continuation of 195, Engineering 195A. This one had to do with more global issues, or like more like issues in terms of like how your creation of your product matters. Basically, what values in your product, how the values of the creator are emulated through their product. Low-key and Prime formed that last semester. Hell yeah. Basically how values of the creator are emulated through their products. So like for an example, like how a car company, if their primary value is cost, that is vastly different than a car company that values I don't know, like accessibility. So, or like they value I don't even know, like they value cost over, like some companies will value cost over I guess miles per gallon or whatever, like that, like, or cars that value aesthetics over cost. So how those, like, or people that value aesthetics for cars, like how those are translated into products, how those values are translated into products, and what you as a product maker need to do in order to not have that go awry. Because we went over a lot of good examples of people that had malicious intent with their values for products, and how you're supposed to prevent that from happening in your product, and how to make sure that your product promotes equality, and it promotes not equality, but just like promotes good values, essentially. Intro to composite materials. This class was all right. Basically, I took this class, not even lying, because a lot of engineering classes at San Jose State, especially elective classes. So this is my second elective, that out of two. Basically, this is my second elective, and I took this because a lot of electives at SJSU, elective classes, are taught by professors who also have like a full-time job. So the classes are at night because the professors work their full-time job and then come to SJSU later to teach. So a lot of the elective classes are at like 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m., which I'm not trying to do. I'm trying to leave campus. I'm trying to work later. Like I usually work the afternoon, so I'm trying to work I'm trying to get a class that's not at 8 p.m. And this actually happened to be the only one that was from 1:30 to 2:45. And honestly, super worth it. Like, I do not regret having to stay on campus until or I do not regret taking an afternoon class. Granted, it wasn't something that I really superbly enjoyed, but it was better than having to stay on campus until like 6 to 7 to 8 p.m. Basically, this class just went over like man-made materials and stuff like that, and how to make those, and how to calculate their performance and stuff like that, which is pretty cool, honestly. The math was pretty intense. in terms of like how many things you had to calculate, but it made sense. I wish I had the textbook with me, but I actually gave it away to a friend. It was so funny because I would show you guys the book, but the spine of the book was actually like falling apart because the book was so old. And yeah, that book was having some years on it. So yeah, honestly, a pretty cool class. Okay, ME 147, Dynamic Systems Vibrations Control. Honestly, like, probably one of my favorite classes this semester. Even the professor wasn't super great. He was the best out of the two that were teaching. It also was hybrid, so I think it was like Tuesday, Thursday. It was like hybrid / like Tuesday, Thursday. So sometimes I would just be at home doing the class, and it wasn't really that bad. It had to do a lot with differential equations, so it made for a pretty fun class because I really do enjoy differential equations. And the classes I took beforehand, Physics 105A, Advanced Mechanics, was very similar to this class. So if I had taken one before the other, like, it would have made the second one a lot easier. Overall, did pretty well in that class. Systems control was a little bit harder, but still doable and manageable. And yeah. ME 195B, Senior Project Design 2. This was basically constructing our project and having that fully fledged out. I should send Cayman some photos of that and what it looked like. Basically, we made a automatic dumpling maker. And as you can tell from what I talked about in Senior Project Design 1, you need to choose a group that knows what they're doing, and we really didn't know what we were doing half the time. Granted, when you take Senior Design Project, you don't have to propose your own project. There are some projects that are sponsored by professors or companies that you can choose to be a part of, but we just chose to be a part of our own group and like our own like project. And so it ended up being a really, really, really hard task to do because you had to end up like, you basically are working from ground zero. Like you have to learn how to design the product, how it's gonna work, what you're doing, and stuff like that. It just ended up being a really Herculean task to take on, and with a lot of procrastination and a lot of stress, it made for some really harsh nights. I remember the day before this time before the presentation, we had stayed until like 2 a.m. on campus, and we had a presentation at 8 a.m. the next day, I believe. And it didn't make for a fun time, but we made it out with an A, and I'm okay with that. Yeah, like innovation at its finest. Literally, oh my god. And I had already applied for like my master's program at college, so I was for physics at a different college. So I was like, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not using engineering anytime. And anyways, last but not least, Physics 122, probably my favorite class this semester. One of my favorite professors of all time was teaching this class. I guess I need to sign it again. Oh, I don't need to sign it again? Okay, cool. No, my address. Looks like we're nuking the VOD voice. Good thing I'm moving, huh? I should have switched over, but it's fine. Nuke the VOD, boys, nuke the VOD. Her name is Dr. Kwan. And she was just a really inspirational professor. And was it similar to 105A with Dr. Switz? Dr. Kwan was also a good introduction to the department and what she was doing, and she really was competent with what she wanted, and it's making the class super approachable. The funniest thing about this class is that like there was only 6 people in this class half the time, because there was like 7 people in the class, I believe, and so 6 people only showed up. and she was really good at handling 6 students, which was pretty funny. I think we ended up being ahead of what she usually planned, because usually classes are behind. But because we're 6 students and we're kind of just like sitting there and we're kind of just like, yeah, 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 you can keep going. Like, it's fine. Like, all of us felt pretty confident in what we were doing, so we just kept going. And she ended up being ahead, I think, so over schedule for a little bit. So we got some pretty like, so we had some like guest lectures and stuff like that, and some tours and stuff like that. But overall, really fun class. Like, the professor obviously makes or breaks the class, and so she really made it. I really wish I had more to say about my final semester, but honestly, like, it really was just like kind of another one of the books, and not as eventful, just because of like, obviously, like when you have all A's, like, or like a lot of A's just don't make it really eventful semester, because obviously it just means that like there's a lot of just trying, I guess. But I don't know, there's some within these. How was that college? How was that college late to on time ratio? I want to give it like an 80-20. An 80-20, especially these 2 classes, Physics 122 and Physics 105. These were 8:30 a.m. classes that were in person. If they were online, like, I wouldn't care, but they were in person. And 8:30 a.m. Monday, Wednesday was not the move. It was not the move. Yeah, there were a lot. I would still show up to class if I was late. I think the latest that I ever showed up to a class was probably like 45 minutes, especially for these ones. But these classes went from 8:30 to 10:20, so 45 minutes of like an hour 50 long class. I still have like an hour left, so like I would say like an 80-20, maybe 90-10, honestly, because I never really showed up late to like too many classes. 80-20, 90-10, like a lot of these classes I showed up on time too. Especially when it's online, like it makes it super easy just to show up, like, and just like not be present. Being present to not present ratio is a different question to ask, though. Overall, though, we ended up with a what is it? Oh my god. Okay, man, I need you to play like the Final Fantasy like victory theme. Overall, a 4.0 GPA for the semester and a 3.897 ending GPA, summa cum laude. I have the medallion. I actually don't know where I placed that. Actually, no, I know where I placed it. We have it right here. I don't know what you guys can see or not, but yeah, it just says summa cum laude. It also says China on the back. So, yeah. I guess these medallions are made in China. Woo! Yeah, thank you, Sam. Thank you. Oh, the light reflectivity. Oh my god. I don't know, like, I guess I can do it from here. You guys can kind of see it from here. It says summa cum laude. I was really worried that this semester would be the end of like my summa cum laude run. Putting up wilt numbers. Oh wow, we actually got through the whole entire fucking copyright jazz thing, and I'm probably gonna end stream for like right now. Or like give some like last minute thoughts on what happened. Talked about this one, 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 talked about this one. Yeah, I guess into some last notes in terms of like what I want to talk about. We talked about the summer classes. Jumpstart programs as another college recommendation of mine. Basically, some people who are in high school are able to take community college classes while they're still in high school. And overall, it's just like getting college classes out of the way is just so useful and anything like that. AP classes, I guess I should talk about that, honestly. Basically, AP classes, or their like equivalent IB classes, AP stands for Advanced Placement, and basically allows you to it's equivalent to doing like the jumpstart programs for like taking community college classes while you're in high school. Just a different method. There's no like single way to just get college classes out of the way. But I do recommend taking AP classes while you're in high school. Even if you don't think that you're gonna like need them or like you're gonna use them, just take them. Like if you think that they're interesting or you think that they're fun, like I took AP psychology, got a 5, and it actually ended up working as a GE for one of my classes. Also AP Spanish, like that one ended up being another one like the GEs I didn't need to take. So these two right here are pretty good, like in terms of like knocking out some college classes that I didn't need to take. And it's like sets up a good way for like either A, opening up your schedule and taking less units, or B, being able to take more units in terms of like a minor or or like a double majoring at some if you're really good. AP Physics 1, this was more for my own like my own leisure. This got me no credit whatsoever in anything besides just credit itself, like units itself. Didn't really cross off any classes, but it did solidify my like my knowledge in physics, so it really did help in like the long run, not exactly in terms of like college. This one, probably the GOAT of all time, AP Calculus AB, because what is it? For my college, you needed to take a math placement exam, which you can see I don't think I did. Oh no, I did because I did this, but I did not take the math placement exam. You literally had to go into the school and take the math, like sign up for a math placement exam and sign up for your classes afterwards based on your placement, whether you would take pre-calculus or calculus. I did not take the math placement exam. And I was like low-key worried I might have to take pre-calculus starting off, even though I had taken calculus AB. But I emailed them and I was like, hey, I've taken calculus AB. Does that mean I need to take the math placement exam? And they're like, no. And I'm like, dope. Like, I'm glad I don't need to start off with pre-calculus. Because if you start off with like pre-calculus, then like, I mean, obviously I've taken the class for it. And starting off from pre-calculus in engineering really sets you back a lot. Like you're almost guaranteed 5 years at that point. So yeah, like taking calculus AB really was the go. It really prevented me from taking pre-calculus and calculus, which are 2 classes basically. So 2 semesters, I mean entire year of classes essentially. Yeah, and I really do recommend like taking AP classes, whether it's through your school and taking it through your school or on your own time. Like taking AP classes on your own time is a lot harder, but honestly is worth a shot to possibly, get rid of college credit. You only need a 3 to get college credit for most. So yeah, like literally like just do something like I know it says undergraduate requirements not met, not completed yet, but they're probably under review. Yeah, like it. Some of them might get you credit, might not, but it's really worth your time and investment in high school to just save yourself lots of money in college, essentially. Anything else I wanted to talk about? How to get good grades in college. I mean, obviously you guys have seen what I've done in college and stuff like that, and what I've been doing for the longest time. And why I'm able to do that. Honestly, it comes down to a lot of knowing your capabilities and knowing the professor. Knowing your capabilities, because when I started studying in college, I would study a week ahead, not even joking. Like if there was an exam next week, I would study a week ahead. And that's because I knew my capabilities and I knew what to study for and stuff like that. Professors that give a study guide are the GOAT of all time, or the GOATs.
of all time. Oh my god. The greatest of all time of all time? Hell yeah. It's knowing what to study, how to study effectively, and knowing how you study. For me, I study with like a YouTube video on the side, and I just kind of grind over like in a couple hours. And I would do that a week ahead, but obviously as time went on, I knew that I could get away with like 3 or 4 days, and this is how I kind of did it. That just kind of goes along with like time management and knowing things. I don't really like have like a planner or anything like that for school, at least. So like manage time in any way that you really know how to do it. I never did it, but that's because I already had like good discipline on my own, essentially. Like I would get assignments done ahead of time, so I never really needed to have a planner, essentially. But I really do recommend having some time management in terms of like being competent in it. Class gauging. This is really just getting to know the professor and how they grade. I always like don't do as well on the first midterm because I'm trying to gauge what the professor really asks when it comes to like midterms and stuff like that. I really like try to process all the information of like what they're asking for. What do I need to do to like get these questions right? Is it like the study guide? Is it about random facts that they just drop during class? So do I need to pay attention during class? How much time does it take to do a question on the midterm? Do they kind of give hints throughout class about what they're going to be dropping on the exam? Stuff like that. And it obviously takes time to, and it's a skill to learn, and class gauging really is useful for studying, because if you know what you got on the first midterm and how much studying that actually takes, whether you over prepared or under prepared for the exam, then it allows you to know when you're satisfied with studying. And that goes along with how I studied. I used to study a week ahead, but honestly, like studying a week ahead isn't really necessary sometimes. Like sometimes all I needed was a couple days. And it really that goes along with time management too. Like if you know how much time it takes to study for an exam, all of a sudden like you can know how much time it takes to do something. Apply for graduation. That goes along with registration dates. It was just to really know your registration date and sign up for classes immediately. Don't settle for bad professors. Don't do it. Professors can really make or break a class and your workload for the semester. Some people really do have to try a lot for professors for general eds. And I'm like, dude, like this is like COM 20. Like we don't need this. Like you don't need to try hard for a speech and get an 80. Just please like get the earliest registration date that you can. There are methods of getting an early registration date that you can do. One of my friends was a note taker. Basically, a note taker is like taking notes for people that are like have like learning disabilities or like are disabilities in general, and like you are rewarded for doing you're rewarded for by being a note taker by having an early registration date. There are other methods. Like I think like working a job on campus also gives you an early registration date, and then applying for graduation. When you're a junior and you apply for graduation, obviously they're going to give seniors the priority registration dates. So getting the earliest registration date possible always is a plus. Sometimes it's out of your control, and you can't really do anything, and you kind of have to sign up for classes that suck. I don't know how I never had to deal with that. I guess because I'm in engineering and engineering is kind of prioritized. I don't know if your GPA was factored into that, but yeah, like getting an early registration date does matter. Do grades matter? Depends on what you mean by matter. Like does a 3.5 matter? Does a 4.0 matter? If you're shooting for all A's, no, it does not matter. If you're shooting for a 3.5, probably. If you're shooting just to get an industry job and never talk about your GPA again, then yes, C's do get degrees. I'm going to graduate school, so like a 3.5 is where it really matters. Anything beyond that, honestly, like is for my own benefit, essentially. It depends on what you're getting out of your grades. If you're getting out of it because you want approval from people, no, that does not matter. If you want it for your own leisure and your own like investment and to getting the most out of your degree, then yes, that does matter. If you're getting a 3.5 so you can have that GPA on your resume and you can have it for like graduate school, then yes, it does matter. Do I believe it's the only thing that matters? No. I do believe that joining clubs and having internship experience really does matter as well. It's the whole picture. It's not just like one stroke of the painting. It's about looking at the whole picture and making that a qualified individual. Trying to balance video games with homework. Obviously, you guys know that I do stream and I do tend to take breaks because of how much I am doing in school. Obviously, during the pandemic, I was able to do a lot more because I was just at home a lot more. But it really is just along that time management of knowing when like I can stream or not. Obviously, this semester I wasn't able to because I was at school all the time. But it really is like learning how to gauge time. Anything else learning during the pandemic? That really is one that like I really do advocate for, just because like it's a new kind of sense of learning. If you want to flex walking across the stage, then yes, it does matter. If you want this medallion too to flex on your graduation day, yes, it does matter. Get this fucking shit and flex. I would say one of the biggest skills that you can learn from learning during the pandemic is learning how to learn on your own. Or even my degree in general, like learning how to learn on your own, whether it's learning through like other videos or outside resources, or from asking the professor or asking from friends, or like, yeah, like it is such a useful skill to know, to be able to pick up something from like a YouTube video or anything like that. I thankfully learned that pretty quickly because I learned physics like back in high school, my senior year of high school, through Khan Academy. I know that Khan Academy isn't for everyone, but that dude is incredible. Like, learning through videos is such an essential skill, or I feel like it is an essential skill at this point. I understand that that learning through videos is not for everyone, and that like there are other methods, and I encourage other methods, whether it's reading a textbook, learning through videos, or just attending lecture and trying your best. But that honestly is what learning through the pandemic honestly is. It's like sitting there and just learning from a professor and having to do stuff on your own to kind of fill in the gaps. And it does suck, but you know, like the pandemic does suck for all of us. But you need like learning the tools to be able to set yourself up for success and to really just like do better in the environment really does help. I guess my physics minor, I don't really need to talk about that. Like, honestly, it was just like for like myself and like what I wanted to do. I applied for my master's program in physics. For physics, I don't really want to do mechanical engineering any further. Nice medal, thank you. I don't want to pursue mechanical engineering any further. It's not what I want to be. Physics minor is where I want to be, or a physics master's degree. But thankfully, it doesn't really like matter too much in terms of what I am. As long as I'm in a STEM degree, I'm going to be where I'm at. But yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of like my my mechanical engineering degree. Do you guys have any questions? And for me, I guess it's like close this stream out. We're ending like 45 minutes early. This was a good, like, I don't know, like, how long was that? 2 hour and 15 minute stream. So yeah, I'm glad that y'all can make it. Y'all like Wisdom, Keegan, or Cyclist, and Seminilla. I'm glad that you guys can make it out for the transcript review. I woke up, rate these 4 years out of 10. Oh my god. Oh my god. freshman year, goated 10 out of 10. I would say. Goated 10 out of 10. I think because I lived on campus and how fun that was, went to my first frat party, really got to know my roommates and have fun with them. Met my girlfriend of 3 years now, or 3.5 now. That and like, you're just having so much fun your freshman year, and like, there was so much downtime that I wish I had now. I know that sounds really cheesy, but there was a lot of downtime I just spent just like hanging around, hanging with friends, and really getting to know people. Like, because you're a freshman and you're in the dorms, no one expects you to really know anyone, so you really are just creating like a social environment for yourself. And so that's what I really liked about like freshman year. Sophomore year, I would rate it like a 7 out of 10. Mostly because I moved back home, and that was a really tough transition, and commuting makes things a lot harder. That and like first semester of my sophomore year, I really was trying to discover like my friends, like who they were and what I was doing. And first semester took a lot of time. Like first semester, I didn't really meet my friends who I would hang out with all the time. I would just kind of be on my own because I was transitioning from living on campus to being on my own, or like living on campus to being a commuter. And like your commuter friends are way different than your living in the dorms friends, honestly. So first semester, I spent a lot of time figuring out who these people were. Second semester, I ended up hanging out with them a lot more until COVID hit, and then that kind of truncated that like meeting my friends. COVID semesters, I would rate it like a 4 out of 10. Like it really was like having the same routine every single day and not having fun and not really hanging out with anyone. I would say what redeems it is that I would hang out with my girlfriend a lot more, and I have a lot of memories of just like being at her apartment and just like having a lot of free time and having fun and just like watching TV and stuff like that. Like it really opened up the doors for just hanging out and just like having a lot of downtime, I guess. But also just like during these trying times, like there's just a lot of stuff that just went down. It's just like, crud, man, like this is rough. Senior semester, I would rate it a solid 9 out of 10. I would say the only stressful part was senior project, and everything else was pretty cool. A lot of good memories made. Like, good to be back on campus. Good to be finally seeing friends again, hanging out, doing my own thing, and just honestly just having fun. Like, it was a really fun time. Like, and a good way to end off senior year too. Just like senior year, finally being back on campus, finally get to see friends again, having graduation in person. Just a lot of good things coming back that really made it a good semester besides senior project. That is like the only thing that like really holds it back from having that 10 out of 10. I would say, yeah, I would say the summer, I wouldn't really count the summers, honestly, but like those were a little bit fun. Besides that physics class, that wasn't really fun. That was the only one that I would rate like a 1 out of 10. All the other ones are like a solid like 6 or 7 out of 10. Is there anything else that I did not cover really? Oh wow, we have 7 viewers. Wow, thank you guys so much for coming through and for this transcript review. Y'all are gonna see the infinite well. Yeah, a BS in mechanical engineering. F that project. Oh my god, Patrick, I feel so bad. Oh my god. Bruh. If you guys don't know, Pedrigak, if you're just joining, I was talking about how my best friend in mechanical engineering helped me with this class right here and carried me through the class. That's him right there. Pedrigak, right there, down, typing down below. That is him. For our project, that is him right there. That is him in the flesh. I don't even know how I worded it. I'll probably be in the vibe. That's him right there. You should enroll in another school to do another transcript review. Maybe when I finish my master's degree, I'll do it. But my master's degree will definitely be a lot less classes. Maybe I'll do it after the end of every semester and what I do. I really want to incorporate a lot more of like my schooling into my channel and what I do, because it obviously is a lot. There's a lot more than dang, sort of Y2 channel like Andrew. Yeah. Or like not even like incorporate it like with like my own channel. Kind of like, because it is part of like my personality and who I am. I just never really show it in terms of like what I do. Not that I'm about to be making like educational videos or anything like that, but it's just like maybe like funny skits or something like that I do. I don't know, but like yeah, I really wanted to incorporate like have you guys be like in the know of what I do basically for like basically the rest of my life. Like obviously I work, I do school, and I do streaming, and like school is definitely a gigantic part of like what I do. Obviously you guys see me take breaks a lot, and that's because I'm literally just doing school. So yeah, like I feel so bad for Pedrigak because this man texted me that he like, first of all, Pedrigak's fucking project was like 10 times better than mine will ever be, and it was pretty good, and it was very well done, but this man unfortunately got to be in the class, and I was just like, can I get some sevens in the chat for that? Can we get some sevens in the chat for my man? Just type 7. Type Pedrigak 7, Pedrigak 7, Pedrigak 7. Let's do it right now. Pedrigak 7. Boom. We applaud you, my good sir. You have done well. You have no idea, but it's fine. I mean, the professor wasn't really good at communicating. Wasn't really good at communicating what grades were going on. I was happy with passing in any way, shape, or form. I had no idea what the fuck was gonna happen in that class. But yeah, like that's pretty much sums up like all my undergraduate degree. Like, I gave you guys every transcript that I've ever had. I guess the only thing I haven't mentioned is for my oh gee, Pedrigak 7. The only thing that I haven't mentioned is I'm taking statistics now. I got off the wait list for my statistics class. I don't know, like maybe you guys want a review on that afterwards. It's literally just an online class. In the same fashion that linear algebra was just me paying for myself to learn on my own, statistics is probably just the same thing, me just paying just to learn on my own. Imagine a professor who forgot to show on final presentation day. That is a story on its own. I forgot about that. Oh my god. I should explain that story. Oh my, I should have remembered that story. Oh my god, why is mine disconnecting? Fuck my life, bro. Don't even know what happened. OBS just crashed. Thankfully, I do have the VOD, so like, we should be fine. But, bro, that sucks. What is it? I probably should say that like senior project and like a bunch of other classes are like need to be saved for another day, because all that stuff is incredibly like skewed or like whatever. And also, I need to what is it? Yeah. Oh my god. That is not what I like to see. That is not a pleasant full image. Yeah, that's pretty much it for today, honestly. Thank you guys so much for coming out to stream today. I appreciate it. It's really fun. Too bad the stream dropped, but that's okay. One day is not. Oh my god, the Wi-Fi hits different at 11 a.m. It wasn't even my Wi-Fi. It literally was like, it literally just OBS just dropped. Like, I went on my phone like and like everything was fine like in terms of the Wi-Fi. I don't know, man. I guess this didn't want to stream anymore. But yeah, like there are tons of college stories that I could talk about. I probably will talk about when I like stream like Mario 64 or something like that. Like senior project, engineering projects in general, that day of senior project presentations, some just awful horror stories of just college dorm stories and stuff like that. All good stream, yeah. There are tons of stories that I could tell that like are so like will be worthy for like the Mario 64 kind of like story kind of vibe. But I feel like I've covered a good amount. Yeah, as I said, like the last thing is like I'm taking statistics class, and so I'm just paying this to learn by myself, and so we're gonna start that, and I guess transcript review once it's done, and y'all are literally gonna get 1 grade, but or maybe a master's program review after I get done. You make me want to take linear algebra. Take it. I'll recommend you the professor. Make sure that you get the right one. At Foothill College, you can just take it in your own time. It's a good class to take. It is. I recommend it highly. Yeah, I'm gonna take statistics this summer, and we're gonna see how that goes. We got some good representation today. 7 viewers. If you guys haven't already, hit the follow. Was it socials, Discord? Hit the socials, hit the Discord. You know, join everything. You know, get all the exposure that we can get. Donate, like all your money to me. Trying to make this a living. You know. Funny enough, I'm getting a lot of emails that are just like, you should take on Sally Mae and like take on student loans and stuff like that. And I'm like, hell no am I doing that. I'm not doing that shit. Like, I've gotten a lot of emails. Like every day I get an email about that, and I'm like, you guys are really wanting me to get into too much, like a lot more debt, huh? That's crazy. But yeah, anyways, socials, Discord, we love it. Thank you guys so much for showing up today. I'm glad you guys were here for the transcript review. The VOD will probably be uploaded soon, so you guys can just watch it through. I probably will watch it through myself and like be like, damn, like this transcript review is kind of ass. Maybe I shouldn't upload that. Excited for the next speed run? Yeah. And this was giving me a little bit of time to practice. I didn't want to like just do practicing today. I figured out that like you guys can only handle HMC for like the 15th time. You guys need a little more content than that. And I'm looking to expand myself to a bit more content and kind of like announcing when I'm going to stream and stuff like that. I'll try to stream sometime soon. I am going to be going down to SoCal to figure out where I'm going to be looking at apartments soon. So yeah, that might prevent me from streaming a little bit. I take time off of work and so I probably won't be able to stream a lot more. I'm thinking that Friday I should be able to stream after work. So probably then. I feel like Friday after work from like 11 to 1 a.m. or whatever like that. Probably continue speedrunning, practicing Bowser's Reds, and getting that shit done. But other than that, hit the follow button if you haven't already, because that's how you guys stay updated with my streams. Discord, socials is how you guys stay updated with the streams. And when I go live, I make an announcement before I go live, basically, and basically on all social media. The YouTube is where you get the YouTube videos, and I usually announce on Discord as well when I post a new YouTube video, or when Cayman chooses to be an editor. What else? Yeah, just keep updated with it, and we shall see you guys next stream. All right. Thank you guys so much for coming out with the transcript review. I'm hoping to make more content that's a little bit more variety, I guess. YouTube for the funnies, hell yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping to expand a little bit more in terms of like what the content that I'm doing. And this is like the start of it. I hope to like do other ones as well. So hopefully like this becomes a YouTube video and it's pretty fun to do or whatever. Yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for coming out today. I really appreciate it. I'm going to be ending. I'm going to be grabbing something to eat, hydrating, and getting ready for work because I have work at 2. So, yeah, we're going to be doing that. All right, thank you guys so much for coming out today. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys on Friday. Yeah. Bye.